And we're back. Welcome everyone to week number
9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of The Preacher. It's me, the Prodigy.
That's me.
This guy. Podcast. College football picks coming up for this weekend. Weekend that really takes flight on Halloween. Spooky picks this week. Spooky picks. Creepy picks. And as we begin this weekend, we already can note that some creepy things have happened. The Nebraska-Wisconsin game is off. What's going on?
Graham Mertz and his backup have both tested positive for COVID. So they'll both be out for 21 days, and they got to put in the 4th string quarterback.
But the game is completely
the game is canceled.
Off. So we had to take that one off of our picks. But there's other things that we want to explore with you. There's some other interesting games going on. All of them Jericho knows a lot about. I know pretty much nothing. So let's see if he can continue his run. Last week we both had a week in which we went 1 and 4. It's almost trash can season to put up trash cans on our head for that. But because our beloved Wolverines won, our Red Raiders won. Hey,
Yay.
We're okay. Unity almost beat Central Lion.
Lion.
That was big for our football fandom. All right, let's get into it. Week numero nueve. Let's begin in the AAC, a conference that I have been absolutely pathetic at picking. We've got the Memphis Tigers on the road at the Natty. Natty's up to number 7.
Number 7
Cincinnati
in the country,
Bearcats. And maybe Michigan State should have tried a little bit harder to hire Luke Fickell. Did I say that? Ouch. Memphis at Cincinnati. Cincinnati 6.5 point favorites. Let's go.
I'll take Cincy to cover Desmond Ritter. I think his Luke Fickell style offense works perfect with him. I think it's just going to be a sweet game for them. I don't know if Braden White, the Memphis quarterback, can come through. I'm going to take Cincy to cover.
I'm going to agree. Memphis is on the road. It seems to me like that line is artificially low.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody knows something we don't, but I'm going to take Cincinnati. Cincinnati just dropped a bomb on the Stangs last week. I mean, that was close for a while, but SMU folded, and Cincinnati on the road really showed me something worthy probably of that number 7 ranking. Game number 2, we go to the ACC. We've got the North Carolina Tar Heels on the road at Virginia. Carolina is a 6.5 point road favorite.
I still think Carolina, after 2 weeks ago, a very close loss to Florida State, they bounced back against their in-state rival. They showed that Sam Howell can really do stuff with the ball. I think that their offense is too overpowered for the Virginia defense to stop. I'm going to take UNC to cover.
I am too. I mean, if you think about it, can you imagine a score of 34-27? Do you think Virginia stays that close? Even if they do, Carolina still covers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this is really low too. I'm happily give away 6.5 to take Carolina. I don't know anything about Virginia, but Carolina, when they're playing well, definitely a top 20 kind of team. Let's go to the Pac. No, it's not the Pac-12. The Big 12. Pac-12 is next weekend. Big 12. We've got the Hook'em Horns on the road at Oklahoma State. Now, this is kind of a surprising line for me. I'll go ahead and put my cards on the table. I like Oklahoma State -1.5. Texas, a little bit upsy-downsy on the course of the year, had a nice victory over Baylor last weekend. But on the road at the number 6 team in the country, the Pokies, I'm going to take Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Texas looking really good last week against Baylor. Sam Ehlinger playing really well. Just a great game by Tom Herman and his team. But I think Oklahoma State, Chuba Hubbard's still looking amazing. Spencer Sanders, I keep on saying he doesn't put up big stats, but he's crucial for the Oklahoma State offense, and I think it's going to have to be in this game. I'm going to take Oklahoma State to cover this one as well.
So we agree 3 for 3. All right. Let's go to the one of particular interest to us. Why we're picking this game, I have no idea. But the Michigan State Spartans, losers to Rutgers. 7 turnovers. And the 7 turnovers, I think, is actually a pretty important factor here. They are, at this time, a 24.5-point underdog at Michigan. So the question is Michigan State, what's the final score if Michigan State turns the ball over 3 times against Rutgers?
If Michigan State turns the ball over 3 times against Rutgers,
Michigan State wins.
Yeah, I'd probably have to say like 31-24 still. Yeah. I think Rutgers played a really good game. I think Rutgers would play a really good game even without the 7 turnovers. Because I think Greg Schiano is going to be the real deal in a couple of years for Rutgers.
Now, you can argue both sides of this. I think in one sense we could say week 1 was a huge overreaction. Mm-hmm. Maybe Minnesota's really not that good. Maybe 7 turnovers were just dumb luck. Maybe it's a rivalry game. Maybe this thing ends up being 37-17.
Mm-hmm.
Or Michigan's really got something with their own Cam Newton, Joe Milton. Maybe Michigan State is in complete disarray in the transition. That wouldn't be the first time a coach in his first year went through an adversity with his team. And maybe Michigan runs away and hides and wins this thing 63-10. I think I wouldn't be surprised if either outcome happened. What's your pick?
I'm going to pick Michigan to... I'm going to pick Michigan to double the line. I'm going to pick Michigan to win 59-10. I think that Joe Milton's really going to shred up that Michigan State defense, who let up 38 points to Rutgers still.
But a lot of short fields.
But even with Rutgers being Rutgers the last years, they haven't won a conference game in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
3 years. And they gave that one up to them, and I still think that Aiden Hutchinson, Kwity Paye, Dak's still not playing the second half of the Minnesota game. They're all going to be really good in this game, and I think Joe Milton, their running game, is going to be unstoppable. I'm going to take Michigan to cover.
You take Michigan to win by 49.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're saying if the line was Michigan 48, you'd still take Michigan?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know about that. I think the game is a little bit closer than that. Michigan State always plays well. They play for pride under Mark D'Antonio. I don't want to pick the same way you pick every time because that's not fun. But I do think Michigan pulls away. I think these games against Michigan State are for bragging rights. They're for in-state recruiting. So I will not take Michigan to win by 49, but I'll take Michigan to win by 4 touchdowns. I'll take Michigan as well. Boy, this is boring. We're picking the same. And I have a feeling we're going to pick the same way on our final game that would have been a headliner were it not for Michael Penix Jr. And a highly controversial play. Do you think he scored a 2-point conversion, or do you not think he scored?
I think he scored.
I think he did not. I think he didn't get in, but the point of the story is you have to have indisputable video evidence to determine it, and definitely the video evidence was disputable clearly. It was the right call to leave it. If they had called him short, it would have been the right call to leave it as a Penn State win. Mm-hmm. But Penn State, which tailback was it that went in the end?
Noah Cain.
And Noah Cain is now out for the year. Coincidence? Probably it is, but Noah Cain is out for the year. Journey Brown is out for the year. So
where's Ricky Slade?
I don't know. I think is Devin Ford the tailback now?
I think so.
So Penn State, they are at home, but they're licking their wounds a little bit. And Ohio State is 11.5-point favorites on the road. In the last few years, the average margin of victory in this game has been Ohio State 2. So Vegas knows that James Franklin is able to elevate his game against the Buckeyes. Still, Ohio State could well be the best team in the country. They have one of the most talented rosters north of the state of Alabama for sure. I don't think they are going to be challenged at all in this game. I'm taking the Buckeyes.
I hate to say it, but I have to take the Buckeyes also.
You know, and most years this is a whiteout, but
yeah,
no fans.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State, that's just sad to lose to Indiana. I mean, Indiana's proved to be a good team, but when you got Sean Clifford, you got Noah Kane, you got that James Franklin defense, still you can't give up 36 points and lose to Indiana. And Ohio State coming off a very predictable demolishing of
How
Nebraska.
predictable was it?
You predicted the exact score.
No.
It was 52-17, and this guy got it. So
Exactly correct. Anyway.
So Ohio State, I think that they really haven't been tested all that much. I think that Justin Fields is going to have to prove something. If he does, Ohio State, as we all think they will be as a top 3 team, I think they will be, but this is really a proving game for Ohio State. I'll take the Buckeyes to win by maybe 2 touchdowns.
So in 5 for 5, we're taking all the favorites to cover. And so we're not any smarter than Vegas, but I think what we're saying here is that if you've got a team like Ohio State, clearly a playoff contender, Michigan that might aspire to the playoff, they won't get in, but they might aspire to it, Cincinnati, you need style points in this kind of a season. There's so many things that are uncertain, especially for Big Ten teams. You know, they're only going to have 9 games in terms of their body of evidence compared to a lot of teams 12. Ohio State's, they've got to run it up if they've got a chance. I think they do that. Again, with no fans at Beaver Stadium, I think that really changes the arithmetic for me. I think Ohio State puts it on them. As I said at the beginning of the year, I'm not a believer in Penn State, so I'll take Ohio State, something like 38-14, something like that. I just don't think. Maybe I'll come off a little bit from that, maybe 35-17, but certainly easily able to cover.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a week of very boring picks because we all agree we're all taking the favorites. We're all taking the favorites to cover. Some of these lines just feel to us to be too low. We will see. We'll see what's going on and come back to you after Halloween as we look ahead to the start of the Pac-10, the Pacific 10, Pac-12, and as they get going on November 7th as well. Till then, peace out.